ready for the fight. From the court to the field, they shine so bold. With every move, the stories unfold. We're cheering on the youth from the start to the win. Giving them the mic, let their voices begin. Interviews and highlights, we got it all. GN Sports Show, where the young stand tall. GN Sports, where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow, making waves today. From ages 5 and up, we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show.
Good evening and welcome to the GN Sports Show. I'm your host this evening, George Dublin, and I'm accompanied here this evening by
co-hosts Vincent and Nabu Samuel.
This is season 4 of the GN Sports Show, episode 1, and we have a packed show for you this evening and throughout the rest of the season.
Today, we'll be interviewing a representative of the Calvin Ayre Foundation, as well as Mr. Ricky Santos, president of the Generation X Football Club. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Our vision is to become the premier platform for showcasing and empowering young student athletes, providing them with the tools and exposure to excel both in sports and life, while shaping the next generation of confident, media-savvy leaders. The GN Sports Show is dedicated to highlighting the talent and stories of young student athletes across all sports disciplines. We aim to equip them with vital media exposure and public speaking skills, helping them grow into confident individuals both on and off the field. Through engaging interviews, mentorship, and real-world media experiences, we strive to foster personal and professional development that supports their athletic journeys.
Welcome back to the GN Sports Show, and we now have on set with us Miss Jamilla Kirwan, manager of Calvin Ayre Foundation, the main sponsor of the GN Sports Show.
Thank you very much, George Dublin, coach extraordinaire, and of course, good evening to Nabu, Coach Nabu.
Special evening to you.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you guys for having me on set with you.
Well, Jamilla, as you're here on set with us, it's always a pleasure being around you. Your enthusiasm has always been encouraging. Being manager of the Calvin Ayre Foundation, what inspired the Calvin Ayre Foundation, to enter into the sponsorship agreement with the Antigua and Barbuda Football Association to sponsor the CFA Women's Premier League 2025?
All right, well, this talk with the FA started since sometime last year. And when the FA approached us about the proposal, I had the distinct pleasure of pitching it to the chairman of the Ayre Group and the founder of the Calvin Ayre Foundation, Ambassador Calvin Ayre. His response in an email was just one-liner: "Yes, I love this program. Let's support it." And that was all the confirmation that I needed, because this initiative is the right step forward, not only for the Calvin Ayre Foundation or the Antigua and Barbuda Football Association, but for women footballing future. So the initial process we were actually discussing would have been for 2 years. But then, in an effort to measure and to really have tangible benefits, we think that a period of 5 years would have been more beneficial.
Well, I think women football really needed something like this, and I know how it is with women, and I enjoy watching women, empowering women, So in sense of empowering women through sports, the sponsorship directly supports women in football. How does this initiative align, with the foundation broader mission of empowerment and community development?
All right, well, at the Calvin Ayre Foundation, we are guided by our core pillars of giving, which is social development, emergency response, and sports and education. And you would have already seen us out there in the field doing quite a lot in emergency medical airlift, assisting people with medical emergencies, also in sports and education through the CAF Identification Combine, as well as the sponsorship through the Generation Next Football Academy with the CAF Advance Academy. So that's an initiative that is being done within Generation Next, but CAF sponsors that particular initiative that Generation Next manages. So you would have seen us out there doing quite a lot of in the community regarding special needs. For instance, there's quite a lot, far and wide, that the Calvin Ayre Foundation has been doing in the community in Antigua and Barbuda. So this partnership with the Antigua and Barbuda Football Association fits right into that mission. So we're not only investing in the development of women's football, but also in the empowerment of women and girls. And this platform would be used to sharpen their skills and grow their confidence and inspire the next generation.
All right. Well, most definitely. We all can appreciate that, and looking forward to Calvin Ayre doing these wonderful things that they have started doing, especially in the field of women, because in sports around Caribbean, we more study the male side of it, but we come to appreciate the women's side of it also.
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Kirwan, from a professional point of view, let me say, first of all, it's an honor to be in your presence doing something like that. I really do acknowledge the opportunity to do so. As it pertains to impact and expectation, because I know CAF is a vision-minded organization, and with the sponsorship of this magnitude, what specific outcomes or milestones does CFA hope to achieve through this partnership, both for the league and for the players themselves?
All right. Well, as we mentioned before, the investment is structured over a period of 5 years. And I think that shows that there is intent for a sustained impact rather than just a one-off sponsorship, because I would have mentioned earlier that we were looking at 2 years. But what's 2 years? 2 years is just go and play two leagues and then everybody get a little chance to play, and then what's the outcome? What's the measure? How can you measure that? So for the first year, which obviously is an early milestone, we're going to look at cleaning up operations, getting teams on board. We have 5 teams this league, but I know that we already are hearing that a couple of teams already wanted to come on board for next league. We want to see consistent scheduling. We want to see consistent attendance, consistency in discipline, consistent media coverage. And now that we came to media coverage, I want to tell Sawa and Zico that they're doing such a fabulous job of the commentary for the last couple of weekends that we've been having. Of course, it would have been nice to see some female commentary, but for the time being, we'll just give you all your flowers. So you guys have been doing a bang-up job of the commentary. And we want to get the community more invested in women's football. Both of you are coaches, and both of you train females in particular. And I know that this is near and dear to your heart. So that's what we want. We want to get the community invested. We want to get teams invested. Midterm, 2 to 3 years, we continue building. We see where the shortcomings are, perhaps seeing more females qualifying for competitions outside of Antigua and Barbuda. And of course, in the long term, we'd love to see the league become more self-sustaining and not fully dependent on donors and sponsorship. We want to see the league, creating a business out of it and getting monetary value rather than constantly depending on sponsorships. Antigua and Barbuda's women's football, I'd like that to be seen as a model in the region, and more girls feeding into the senior leagues and more women in coaching and admin within the league. So again, it's a long-term vision that we're measuring over a period of time. It's been touted as the largest private investment in women's football in the Caribbean outside of Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, $1.35 million EC dollars over a period of 5 years. So it's a long-term vision.
Yes, it's indeed a long-term vision, and I can attest to that also. I've been around football for 30 years. This is my 30th year.
Bravo.
And as far as Antigua is concerned, this has been, whether it's male or female, this has been the first for all 30 years that I have been around. To add to that, 30 years of, a couple of years of playing also. And this so it's really commendable at this point in time to have this sort of injection into female football. So I'm pretty much happy for this, having players, females coaching and also children playing.
Yes.
Let's take it beyond the field a bit. In what way does the foundation envision this sponsorship contributing to opportunities to females, women in general off the field, such as in leadership, coaching, or management within the sport?
Well, you just mentioned that we have female coaches, and when you look at coaches like Joella and Tiki and Dukey and all the female coaches who are doing such a fabulous job with our young women, that is commendable. But we'd love to see an even more holistic, more structured approach to the management of the sport. I'd like to, at this point, give me a little chance to say congratulations to Miss Gwen Salmon, who is the current Senior Vice President of the ABFA and who is also in charge of women's football. Gwen has recently, as you know, been appointed to the FIFA Women's Football Development Committee for the year 2025 to 2029. So women's football is definitely in good hands. So kudos to Gwen, and a big round of applause for Gwen from both of you. All right. But what I would love to see, especially as a media practitioner, is more women in media-led initiatives, broadcasting. I mean, you guys are doing a great job, but we'd love to see more females doing commentary, journalism, and storytelling, changing the narrative for our young women in sports. And this will help to shift some of the narrative that's being perpetrated around regarding women in sports. We'd like to see internships and mentorship programs where you pair young players with senior players, more capacity building, more female match officials. And there's so much that can come out of this initiative. You know, women who are interested in sports management can be mentored by senior administrators, for example. There's just so much that can come out of this, but I'm happy that we're making a start. We're gonna measure as we go along. We're gonna incorporate advice from people who have been in football like you, Nabu, for 30 years. And Sawa reminded me off camera that you trained him. You boss Sawa get large because of you. You know, so we wanna take advice from you guys. We wanna take advice from the general public, old veterans who come to watch and see what's going on. We want to take advice and see how we can build out women's football more professionally.
Interestingly, you mentioned Miss Gwen Salmon, and I sit here as a proud individual. Little did you know, I single-handedly held Gwen's hand and brought her into football.
Wow.
So I was the first person, as far as the Hoppers is concerned, which she was at that point in there, under the auspices of even Captain Sower. Because he was cover for a length of time, carrying the weight.
Yes.
So I definitely feel proud of that synopsis as far as Miss Gwen Salmon. I know she has worked hard, and I'm happy that you are able to incorporate the sponsorship so that she can at least continue to get the necessary kudos that are rewarded to her.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so as we go on, I would also like to congratulate Gwen myself to my club president, a second mom to me for years, even before the days of me playing for Hoppers and she becoming the president. But on another note too, Jamilla, in terms of message you'd like to send out to the community, I sitting here and I can't wait to hear what you say, because I want to be inspired by you. So if you have to, send a message to the community, the players, the fans, the broader community on a whole about Calvin, CFA, and the commitment to football, female athletes and the advancing of gender equality, what would that message be?
All right. Well, again, at the Calvin Ayre Foundation, we believe that true community development begins with opportunity. Definitely. And that opportunity must be equal. And we all know that males get more opportunities than females, especially in sports, and particularly in football, which is a male-dominated sport. So CAF is happy that we are assisting females in leveling up to that degree. So our commitment to the Premier League is more than just a sponsorship. I believe it's an investment in empowerment, excellence, and the future of women's football in Antigua and Barbuda. So to the players, you are the heartbeat. They're the heartbeat of the movement. And every time they step on the field, they inspire a new generation of girls to dream. So CAF stands beside them. CAF stands beside you as you break barriers and you redefine what's possible, and continuing to prove that talent has no gender. To the fans, we had a great little turnout for the last couple of weekends. I was thinking, the stand's not looking too sparse at all. You know, we competed with the bounce castle, the mega bounce one Sunday, and then we competed with, what was that, Dayfet Rhythms. So we're hoping that as time progresses, because league will continue until December, that the momentum will build and we'll have more people turning out. So to the fans, you are the heartbeat. Your cheers fill the athletes with fuel. It keeps up their spirit. So we're hoping that you'll keep showing up and believing, because your voices go far beyond the pitch. And to the broader community, this partnership is a statement of purpose. And if anybody knows me and CAF and Ambassador Calvin Ayre, our team here at Ayre Media and Calvin Ayre Foundation and the Ayre Group on a whole, we're all about purpose and creating a legacy. So it reflects broader on our mission to uplift lives through sports, education, social development, and empowerment. And I believe, and we all believe, that when we invest in women, we invest in stronger families. We are stronger communities and a stronger nation. So this league is not just about competition. If it was about competition, we would have left it at the 2 years, right? It's about connection, it's about courage, it's about change and making a difference. So we're building a legacy.
So, Ms. Kirwan, I am happy that you have piloted the opportunity for female football in Antigua, and I wish you and your foundation, the CAF, all the best in this venture. It is indeed a venture that demands respect. It's an adventure that will augur well for football. Hey, I'm happy to be in your distinguished
Thank you,
presence.
Nabs. Thank you so much. Sawa?
Well, yes, Jamilla, and I would also like to thank you for coming on the show. We really do appreciate you being here. This is season 4, episode 1 of the GN Sports Show, and sponsored by the company with your managing, Calvin Ayre. So it's always a pleasure having the sponsors on board, and that augurs well for the show itself, knowing that the sponsor is willing to come and sponsor other things and talk about the things that they are sponsors. So nice having you here, and as we go into the break, we wish you all the best, Jamilla.
Thank you so much, Sawa.
And with that, we will be back with the GN Sports Show.
Sports Show.
Welcome back to season 4, episode 1 of the GN Sports Show. And we have here on set President of the Generation Next Football Club, Mr. Ricky Santos. Ricky, how are you tonight?
Not too bad. Thanks for hosting me. It's a pleasure being here with you, with two of my very good coaches in Generation Next.
Definitely,
Yeah.
it's a pleasure having you too also.
Yes.
I didn't know I was a very good coach here, Ricky, but thanks for the compliment any which way. So Ricky, the Generation Next has been around for some time now and has been one of the more advanced footballing academies in the country. So I know the new season has started in September. I know we've been getting a lot of rain, but you could just tell us some of the challenges you faced during the preparation to get this new season underway.
Generation Next every year we seem to add something more and more to it. So the challenges occurs before the season actually starts, of getting everything in place. Thankfully, as the club has progressed and evolved, we have Jonathan Thorogood, who is an assistant to me, which frees up more by time to do other initiatives for the club. So the challenges are basically the same year by year in terms of getting all the database in. Some of the players may have migrated to another club. Some of the players may have aged out because we stop at 17 years old. So some may have aged out, and then new ones will be coming in. So that's some of the challenges, is creating the database of it. The main challenge we had to the actual campaign of starting the season is the weather. The weather has not been favorable to us, particularly on a Thursday. It seems almost every Thursday it is heavy downpour of rain. So that's one of the major challenges that we've had since we started the campaign. but we have loads in store.
All right, then there's not by we can't do nothing about the weather, but go along with it, and throughout the years, I've been working with Generation Next with you for about maybe 4 or 5 years now, and every year on the first day of training, I get a new uniform. So I realized that you definitely had a part down pack, because every year I get a new uniform. And with things that I've developed, that are developing, and things that are good things, they always, in terms of growth, they come with different challenges, like new pressures and so on. How do y'all manage like the facility, knowing the amount of kits that y'all have to get, and it just getting the sizes right, because sometimes I just be a trainer, I see some kids, they could barely walk, but they ain't the jerseys that fit them to be precise. So just how y'all manage the facility, the growth, ensuring that you could manage the quality, the coaches, and adjust certain challenges.
Okay, well, let's take with the coaches, for instance. Nabu is the head of coaching at Generation Next, sitting to my left here. So he basically looks after that. You're the director of football, so you will set out the programs that you want us to follow. So that part is covered, because we have 2 very competent people sitting next to me here.
Not to cut today, but I just setting out the program Nabu wants us to follow. I just had the name, the initial name.
Well, whatever. I'm just giving. You can say what it is.
All right.
So in terms of getting the gear, the uniforms, etc., and the sizes, that came with experience over the 13 years that Generation Next has been in existence. Some years we get it slightly off. This year we've had an increase in sponsorship, so we brought in that much more uniforms, particularly for the smaller ones, because some years the bigger age groups have dominated in terms of numbers, and the last 2 years the lower age groups, the under 7s, under 9s, have shut up. So it's a difficult balance, to be honest, when you're happy to do it. So we have to bring in excess quantity of uniforms. And I should just say here, the GN Sportswear, which is an offshoot of the Generation Next Football Club, we design our own uniforms, the coaches' uniforms, etc., and even the Advanced Academy uniforms. So all of this, it takes time, it takes effort, because we also, as I said, we do the designing of the uniforms itself, and we tend to change the actual designs, not the colors. The actual designs have changed every 3 years. So next year we should have a change in the design of the uniform, but not the color of the uniform.
Okay, and in terms of the facility, how do y'all maintain, the facility in terms of, because it's like U7s, U9s, 11s, 13s, 15s, and 17s you have over there. So just to keep that facility in good shape throughout that 3-month period of the year, how y'all, do y'all have a groundsman, somebody that cuts the field, somebody that waters it, that kind of thing?
Well, we're very fortunate that we have an excellent ground, or one of the, I shouldn't say excellent, but one of the better grounds in Antigua, at St. Anthony's Secondary School. And they have St. Anthony Secondary School. I should add, I'm the chairman of the board of directors for that school, and we do have there a grounds personnel that will try and maintain the cutting of the grass, the marking out of the field. In terms of the actual goal sizes, every year we have to bring in new nets. We particularly like to save the new nets for the second term of the year, simply because that's when we're going to our newly branded ACB Caribbean Junior Premier League. So we put the new nets on there, and we try and work with the older nets that we have for the first term.
All right, Ricky.
Ricks,
Yes.
aka Mr. Santos, aka Gen X Santa Claus, not only by looks but in nature. I must commend you for the work you're doing also with the Gen X group. I noticed over the years we have been growing tremendously, and with growth, the Generation X has consistently grown every year, not just in membership, but also in the range of activities that we portray, and also community events. Tell us a little about that.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to take you up in, with your commendation for me. I just like to state here that Generation Next would not be where it is without the coaches, without the parents, without the sponsors, and now our new administrative person. It's a collective effort that has brought about the success of Generation X Football Club and where we are today. So it's not just about me. Yes, I may set out the mandate, but the collective input is very, very important. Like, let's take, for instance, the coaches. I am not a coach, so I have to rely on you guys to feed me the information about coaching, because I don't claim to be a coach. I'm not a coach. And so anytime somebody approaches me about coaching, I send them to you guys. So that's what I'm saying. It's a collective responsibility, so to speak, that makes it a success. It's not just about me.
In by the same token, in your estimation of things, what do you think is key in maintaining this legacy or momentum that you have already built?
Well, first of all, the passion for me personally is not necessarily the sport. It's the youngsters, the kids. And I particularly thrive on creating opportunities for them. So anytime I travel, it may seem to people as a holiday, and yes, to some degree it is, but I always go out and make contacts to create opportunities down here. One of the initiatives that we have done for the last, I think it's 3 or 4 years, is that we send kids to various schools in the UK. And this is at no cost to the parents. It is totally funded by fundraising. It is and sponsorship, particularly the Calvin Ayre Foundation. And this affords, and not only the youngsters go on those trips, the coaches also go. And that's strategically planned so that the coaches can go up there and see what these schools are looking for, so that when they come back, they can impart that knowledge onto the players. So that's one of the initiatives that I'm extremely proud of, and we hope to continue it in the future.
And I can attest to that, because I was one of the first one who went off to the Brookhouse, and it was indeed a wonderful occasion. And I am looking forward to when my turn comes up again to make that trip back to England. As it relates to community engagement, because I've been here for 7 going on 8 years now, and I know in the early stages and continuing now, we used to help the less ones in the communities, the different teams like the Tamo FC. You have also helped my academy, the Cutting Edge Academy, as far as that is concerned. How is the Generation X planning to further strengthen its connection with the local community this season?
Well, we just distributed, and one thing when we distribute gear, we don't like to advertise it or promote it, because it comes from the heart of the members of the club. So we'll collect most of them brand new gear from clubs such as Stoke City, and just recently Watford Football Club. And when I bring these things back, we distribute it out to the various clubs. The same clubs don't get the same thing every year, because we like everybody to get a little help with it too. One year, you mentioned Tamo.
Yeah.
We got sponsors to sponsor his youth club. A bunch, I think it was 25 jerseys, and outfits, not only jerseys, pants, and I can't remember the other club that we assisted with, but it was our initiative, but we got sponsors to do that. So yes, the community involvement is very important to us. We know that a lot of football clubs are challenged in terms of financial resources, and if whatever little we can do, we will do. We can't make promises we can't fulfill, so we don't make wide promises. But whatever we can do, we always try to do, just so that it can be a competitive environment, so that when the league, the Junior Premier League starts in February, that as many teams as possible could participate.
Yeah, this has been a wonderful initiative. If you were to see the joy on these youngsters' faces when they receive these uniforms and are properly decked out, and I wish for you to continue this so that we can make more communities better and the level of football going. Good, so
Yeah, definitely. I am very much impressed with the Generation X football club, and you yourself, Ricky Santos, because there's not much people who are really do some of the things you didn't have in football. Yes, there's a bit of money in it for you know, for the coaches and whoever else, because you know you're investing your time in it, you know, and all we appreciate it. I myself really do appreciate working with you, and sometimes the way in which you just call me and give me information or ask me for some advice and take some advice I bring myself, you know. But looking ahead, Ricky, you know, there's the league which will be coming up in February. You know, they have the combine which comes up also next year around that same time, I think, give and take.
Yes. The combine starts slightly before the league.
Yeah, before the league.
So the combine will be in early February, just after the 2nd, but we're waiting confirmation because this year the combine is going back to the technical center of the ABFA.
Okay.
So that the combine is going back. We're just waiting on the exact dates. We have been contacted by a number of coaches and scouts overseas that want the dates, and because of course they are busy themselves up there and they have their various programs that they have to do.
Right.
So as soon as we get that, everybody will be notified. In terms of the Junior Premier League, the ACB Caribbean Junior Premier League, I want to stress here that league has been created from this inception in 2014, and never once has any team that has participated had to pay a cent, because we have gotten sponsors to cover the cost for everything. So no one pays to participate in that league, and that was deliberately done so that everybody possible could attend and participate and compete. Yes, we manage the league at the back end. We'd like to think we're fair about it. We post all the scores, the goal scorers. Yes, of course, I'd like my club to win all, but that has never happened. Hopefully one day it will. But it's very, very competitive, and we do our endeavor best to make sure everything is done properly, upfront, and transparent.
All right, Ricky. Just one last question as we, before we go on break here, Ricky. You know, in terms of the Generation Next, what you think you could do, you know, to just develop Generation Next a little bit more? You know, any new initiatives you have coming on board to help you to, you know, take it to the next level, to maybe the point where that Generation Next could actually be sending these players to professional clubs instead of the coaches coming down, you know, little things like that to help to develop.
Yeah, well, we have something planned this year, but of course everything is a cost factor. We have 3 tournaments that we've been invited to. One is in Tobago and 2 are in England. So we have to make a decision as to what age group we're going to send and where we're going to send them. But unfortunately, money comes into play because it's a financial issue. We have to find the funds to get them up there. The one most likely we would attend is the under 16s at Brookhouse College, simply because the cost factor is more affordable. Because Brookhouse College, because of our relationship with them, are going to house our children and our coaches free of charge with meals. So we just have to find the airfare. So that most likely will be the one that we'll take up, and that is going to be just around Easter time next year.
Oh, well, all right, Ricky. Well, that's a great initiative, and I'm sure the players at the Generation Next who's listening and watching the show would, you know, really appreciate that and be very much motivated to develop themselves so that they could be a part of that team. But also from myself and Nabo, we'd like to thank you for coming on the show, because it's always been a pleasure sitting here and talking to you. And you know, it's always good to have you around, Ricky. So with that, we'll go and take a break, and we'll be right back to the GN Sports Show.
GN Sports Show.
Welcome back, and we have here on set with us this evening Omawalle OJ Samuel Jr., who was a former Generation Next youngster and now who is a young and upcoming entrepreneur. So we're just going to jump into it, but first of all, we'd like to say, Omawalle, nice having you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Definitely. I must say also, before we even continue, that I was once Omawalle's coach, just for the listening public. So I coached him on the football pitch, and now he's venturing into a different realm, you know. So it's an incredible career. Generation Next, you had OJ. What was the defining moment in you realizing, you know, you want to transition from the field to the platform and into entrepreneurship?
So it was a mixture of things, right? During COVID, as you know, we were on lockdown, and to be honest, I wasn't playing as much football as I would like to at the time, right? So during this moment, I realized, well, okay, I can't just, you know, say I'm going to be a professional football player, but not have the courage or the drive to make a way, even without, I guess, the opportunity being there as much as it was prior to COVID and stuff like that. So, you know, I had to ask I spoke with my dad quite a lot of times. I said, well, I'm not sure if I want to continue playing football with COVID coming. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to even get back out on the pitch to play football. And he was like, well, champ, you know, everything happens for a reason, and it's not bad that you're feeling like this. What you need to do is just stay patient, and when the time comes to play football again, you do your best, and if you still don't enjoy it, then you'll know, okay, well, maybe it's time to give up the boots and go along on a different path. So, you know, you coached me after COVID, right? I still feel like even the team that I was playing for, compared to what I was accustomed to playing before in under 11s with Nabu, Kirwan, I remember my teammates, Vaughn, who is playing with the Brookhouse Academy at the moment, very special player, even Nehemiah Jr., and, you know, lots of talents that we had on the team at the time. So going from playing with a skillful team like that to, you know, maybe not being with the best individuals, I think, not trying to be egoistic or anything, but to my standards, I felt like the level of playing was not how it should be at the time. So I kind of fell out of it. And, you know, at the time CXC was coming up, I was doing lots of studying to pass my exams, and that was my main focus. Because, I mean, everyone said, well, you're not going to do your best in your CXC exams. That's what teachers thought of me at the time, right? And that was my goal, to do my best and kind of not prove them wrong, but prove to myself and to my parents that, okay, well, you paid your school fees and I'm going to make your money worth it. And that's what I did.
Oh, well, definitely. Yeah, during my time coaching you, it was a decent player, to be honest with you. I think it was special. You had something in your arm. Yeah, and I know that COVID really, you know, caused the setback, you know, and the whole life in general, you know, being locked down for that length of time and then trying to find the drive and the motivation. You know, to steep out and go and play and that little thing. And then COVID was still in the air, so you must have get in contact with somebody, you're still 50-50 halfway. So yeah. I could understand your transition. But I know a lot of people that struggle from, you know, being an athlete into going to a different field, because I've been a footballer for a long period of time. You understand what I'm saying? Playing professionally in Trinidad and then playing here with the Barracuda and being a part of the national team. And then after that I transitioned into coaching, which is basically the same thing, and that was just big job. But now I don't coach at that level, and I have to transition into, you know, being a joiner, which I had a trade before. Right. So now, so, you know, so a lot of people that struggle from moving from one thing to the next. How has your transition been from an athlete to now being a young entrepreneur?
It was hard. It was hard because as a young individual growing up, my entire identity was tied to being an athlete. So every morning I woke up and I had a sense of purpose, whereas now, or the transition from being an athlete to, you know, an entrepreneur, not necessarily knowing if I'm built for the game, not necessarily knowing if, you know, what others are going to think of me. Because I can tell you, people were saying, oh, he's trying to be famous, he's trying to be rich. And I'm like, well, that's not what I'm trying to do. I know what I'm trying to do. And even if that's nothing wrong once you have a good reason for doing that, right? I had lots of people doubting me. I had lots of criticism coming my way, good and bad. People saying, well, you should go back to playing football. People questioning my decision as to whether or not, like, why aren't you going to school to play football? And honestly, the criticism began to get in my head as well, and I was questioning myself, right? I decided, well, I made a decision. I'm going to stick with this decision because this is the decision that I think is best for me. No one really knew what was going on in my life at the time, whereas I had all of these dark forces attacking me, and I realized, well, okay, God is calling me to do something bigger than myself. And that thing was being a motivational speaker, a leader, and an entrepreneur. And reason is because I want to show other individuals what's possible and what can be done once they believe in themselves.
Oh, well, you know, I'm proud of you, to be honest, because I never really heard you speak as a motivational speaker, but a day my girlfriend was over at academy and you drove because you said, oh, I heard him speak on a platform and he was really good, and so wow, so that's I felt good for that, because I was wondering why you gave up the game of football, but to hear she say that, and she's a twitchy, critical kind of guy sometimes, to hear she say that was really good for me. So I'm really proud of you, and I just hope that that this endeavor where you choose to go and do works out for you, and you play a little football every now and again. Don't let talent go to waste.
I know, I still play football, I still enjoy it. I think it's a sport that will be with me for the rest of my life, just to balance things out. You can't always be in the works. You need to enjoy life, and football is what I enjoy doing still, even though I'm not pursuing it as a career now.
All right,
Mr. Samuel.
Yes.
OJ, I first must commend you on where you are at this point in time. I had the privilege of having you from the 11s, and we know that team was an unbeatable team.
Right.
No one beats us when it comes to the Generation X competition, and I'm pretty proud of you as far as that is concerned. Based upon the principle or habits from your footballing career, tell me how that has translated most effectively into your success as a speaker and an entrepreneur.
So the drive for me wanting to win, as you said, while I was playing with on the 11s, I mean, I can't remember us losing more than 3 games my whole entire time with you. And that's probably some of the best memories I have in my life to this day. Like I said, I really enjoyed playing with guys like Raekwon, Vaughn Jackson, Neymar, etc., etc. But mostly the drive to want to win and become better, not only to prove a point, because you prove a point when you actually stop trying to prove a point, but the drive to want to become the best version of myself so that I can be better and I can help others. Because that's the whole point of life, right? To become the best version of yourself so that you can lead and help others become the best version of themselves.
Pretty interested, and as I mentioned before, I am pretty proud of your achievement. Let me take this opportunity to also congratulate you on making the Hall of Fame of the Generation X.
Right, thank you.
It's pretty a decent situation. I think you deserved it because you were pretty well. You're one of the players I could have depended on when I say, hey, OJ, this is your role.
Yes.
You go and do it. Looking at the fact of inspiring the next generation of players, through your talks and ventures, what core message do you hope to pass on to younger athletes who look up to you? Having said that also, and especially your brother Maliko, who is presently under my guidance, and they always say that the younger one is the better one, That's all.
We'll have to see about that.
We'll definitely
have to see about that.
Tell me what the core message you want to send, not just about success on the football field, but success beyond the sport.
I would say, good question first of all, but I would say stop living your life in goop. And goop means the good opinions of other people, right? One of the biggest fears today is the fear of criticism, healthy and bad. People don't want to hear healthy criticism because now they feel like their self-worth is being attacked by someone trying to help them, and really they're just trying to help them get better. So be comfortable with criticism, but don't live in the good opinions of other people. That's my advice. That's what I would like to tell the next generation, because that's something that I struggled with growing up, right? I used to think that I had to be perfect to get the validation from whether it be your peer groups, your teachers, your even coaches, right? You guys pushed us to be the best, right? And coaches are some of the, I guess, best criticizers, you know what I mean? But you guys do it in a good way to help us get better. So that's my advice.
Yeah, most definitely. Pretty solid advice. Pretty solid advice. I've never heard it put that way.
Yeah.
So I commend you for that effort as far as that is concerned. I see and I feel the level of maturity coming out.
Yes.
And I wish that you continue along your path, and I wish you every success as far as that is concerned.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, just listening to you answer that question just now, OJ, I was motivated to be. I feel lighter right now, but in terms of legacy and vision, OJ, Well, as Nabu said earlier, in the Generation Next Hall of Fame, which well deserved because you played under me. I was very hard on you because I thought you had real potential. You understand what I'm saying? You had good pace. You wanted to win. You wanted to help your teammates get better, and that's a plus. And once you do those things to me as a coach, I'm good at you. You work hard and you're willing to help people come forward. That's what I'm looking for in somebody that is leading. You don't have to be the best player,
right?
But once you're willing to help everybody to do their best, that's key. That's key motivation. You know, so just like some of the things that you're passionate about, you know, new projects or goals you're passionate about pursuing in the future.
So, honestly, I would like to be one of the biggest speakers to come out of Antigua. I know that's something big for me to say, but that is honestly one of my biggest goals, to be a global keynote speaker and lead the next generation, go to different schools all around the world and talk about my story and how my story or my, I guess, philanthropy can help them in their careers and their lives, and speak at even maybe TED Talks. Do you know about the TED Talks?
No, I'm not.
Yes, so it's probably one of the biggest speaking platforms in the world, and I would like to speak there one day.
Yeah, but OJ, before I turn you back over to Coach, so I wanna extend to you how proud I am of you at this point in time. I now takes me back a bit to the under 11, your enthusiasm when you're not scoring, when you're not getting it right. I have to be calming you down. I have to be telling you, man, forget about it.
Yeah.
But here you now in this position to be translating that to other individuals. It gives every coach, the financial rewards are not always there.
Yeah.
But this is bigger than the financial rewards. When you see someone that you had made an impact on their life and you see them move to the next level, and guy, I'm pretty proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Keep this stuff going, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to add a bit on what Nabu said, I'm very proud of you also, OJ, and I'd like to wish you all the best in whatever you decide to continue to do. As I tell you earlier, still play a bit of football, OJ, because you know that is just keep the stress away and not put you down to relax and stuff like that. But it's been a pleasure having you here. As I say, your etiquette and your speech pattern is absolutely fantastic, and I can't see you not achieving the things you want to achieve. So, you know, from myself, Coach Nabu, and Generation X family, we wishing you all the best, you know, and just hope that everything goes the way you want to go. And you could inspire a lot of young people, whether it be you inspire them to go in the direction where you are going or to continue in the direction of sport or whatever it is, you know. So from here, you know, just like to say, nice to have you, and you know, we wish you all the best in further endeavors.
Thank you. And to Generation Next, Ricky Santos, and you guys as well, because you guys have been around for a long time. I would like to congratulate you guys and tell you guys that I am very proud for how far the club has actually came to this day. From giving so many young individuals the opportunity to go and actually have a shot of achieving their goals is something remarkable, and is something that Antigua really needed. So my congratulations to you, to the coaches, Ricky Santos, and the future plans, Jonathan, and you know, the other host of the Generation Next show. I want to see this continue to grow, and I hope you guys will succeed in every single plan you have for the club.
Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with the GN Sports Show.
GN Sports Show.
We would like to thank the sponsors of Generation Next: Fruta, Antigua Masonry Products, Citizenship by Investment Unit, ACT, Flow, Island Photo, and Francis Trading Agency.
GN Sports Show.
Welcome back to the GN Sports Show, and we're here today with the Jump Pack Show. We are welcoming back Dr. Rick here to the show with us. Welcome back, Doc.
Thank you. Coach Sauer, nice seeing you. Coach Nabu, nice seeing you. This is, I think, our first time together, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, good. Sounds good.
So we just jump straight into the Doc. You know, we're here to talk about the nutrition. We're talking about sleep and growth.
Youth sports, yes,
Yeah,
and sleep and growth. That's a good topic.
Okay, so you know, how important is sleep, you know, to the growth and performance young sports athletes?
Very important. Not just for youth, but for everybody. Growth is important. You know, for sports we need muscle, right?
Right.
And our bodies make a hormone known as growth hormone. And guess when growth hormone is made? Everybody thinks, oh, growth hormone is going to be made when you're exercising, so you'll grow. No, growth hormone is more made when you're sleeping. So when kids sleep, the longer they sleep, the more growth hormone. Now, I remember when I was a teenager, my parents would say, "You lazy bum, why are you sleeping so much?" Well, I was a kid. I didn't know why. I only know now that I was sleeping so much because my body was telling me I needed more sleep to stimulate growth hormone. Growth hormone that causes your muscles to grow. And for nutrition purposes, you need protein in your diet. If you don't have protein in your diet, then you don't have the building blocks to build that muscle. So one of the most important things about sleep is that it stimulates growth hormone to stimulate muscle growth. So kids, for example, when they start in sports, some kids get fatigued very easily. Why? Well, they may not have enough muscle mass. You know, the muscles just may not be big enough or strong enough to maintain their activity level, and they get fatigued very easily compared to other kids who have more muscle.
Oh, definitely.
Having said that, Doc, this is not just about the resting process. Where does the biochemical process add to this?
So the biochemical process comes from making sure a kid has enough protein in their diet, because when they digest the protein, it gets broken down into amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. Now, are all proteins equal? No. Some proteins have better amino acids in them for building muscle. Give you an example. There are 3 amino acids called branch chain amino acids. They belong to the class of branch chain amino acids. They're called leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Well, those are the ones that are best at building muscles. Now, nutrition plays a big role. Why? Because not every food has protein, has a lot of the branch chain amino acids. Let's take a person on a vegan diet. You know, some kids grow up in households where their parents are vegans. They're mainly all vegetarian and they don't eat meat. Well, they have a problem with getting enough of this protein unless they vary up the diet a lot. In other words, use legumes, which has some protein in it. So they kind of have to eat more mass of the vegetables, because vegetables in general don't have as much protein as eggs and poultry and meat and pork, you see? And those branch chain amino acids you can get in the plant food, but you have to pay attention to it. When you have a kid on a meat diet, you know, or eating everything, you don't have to pay so much attention to it because, for example, let's say he eats chicken all the time. He likes chicken. Well, there's plenty of those branch chain amino acids in chicken. Eggs, there's plenty of those branch chain amino acids in the eggs.
So where does beans, what role does beans have as far as that maximizing the protein?
Well, it's hard to maximize the proteins with just beans, but beans and lentils and all of those vegetarian pieces have less of the protein, so you have to make sure you're giving the kids enough. And basically it has to do with knowing something about calories, how many calories a kid should take in, and whether they're growing and happy. How do you know? You know, you can take them to the doctor, to the pediatrician, they measure their growth. If they're growing and happy, right, and they're not fatigued, they're probably getting enough.
Okay, doc. So, just...
Make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
So just quickly, doc, like how much sleep, you know, should a young athlete get?
It varies with the age, but, you know, 8 to 10 hours. 8 to 10 hours. 4 to 6 hours is too little usually for kids.
So 8 to 10?
Yeah, 8 to 10 hours, and it varies with the age, you know. But yeah, 8 to 10 hours. 9 hours is a good.
It's a good.
But if kids are up all night doing their homework, watching TV, playing video games till midnight on their phones, and now they have to get up at 6 o'clock to go to school, that's not enough sleep. 5 hours. You get the idea?
Definitely.
And that also plays into the fact that now in our society, kids are becoming more sedentary. So we have to kind of trick them into doing more sports and getting more active.
Okay.
So what do you do with a kid, for example, who doesn't have that competitive spirit? Did you notice that some kids just have the competitive spirit and they want to do sports? And other kids don't. But their parents want them to do it because they know it's good. Maybe the parent wasn't a good athlete and the parent is living through the child. Does that happen sometimes?
Yep. Yes, definitely.
And they push the kid. And you see the parent was never an athlete. They want the kid to do very well. Well, it's not very healthy to do that. It's better for a parent to encourage the child to do what he likes. But what about the child who says, I don't want to do anything? What do? Well, you have to kind of trick them by saying, oh, you want to play video games? Let's do some motion-based video games. There are motion-based video. Get the kid moving and do it with him.
Or like the tennis ones.
Exactly.
Right.
And then they may catch on to it, and then you might say to them, oh, let's take some tennis lessons. Or let's go out and hit some real tennis balls and see how you do now that you do it, with the computer.
Well, that's really good, Doc. We get better. Well, for me, I used to always tell my players I miss the doctor part of the courses and the physiotherapy part of the course. I just focus on the coaching part of the courses.
Yeah, of course.
So it's very good to just get that whole idea on how the impact of sleep and those kind of things and all those protein, different balance of protein, so meat protein to vegetable protein and so on. But now, in terms of the second segment of nutrition and growth and recovery.
Yeah, let's talk food, because that is critical in any athlete.
Yes.
Yeah, the way we eat is really critical.
Yeah, like carbohydrates, for example.
What is the biggest nutrition mistake you see in the young?
That's what I was just getting ready to say, and you beat me to it. It's the carbohydrate. It's the simple sugars. It's those sugary cereals, those sugary drinks, right? Now, do kids need sugar? Absolutely. Kids should have a balanced diet. About 50% of their calories should come from something that tastes good. That's a little bit sweet, right? But not those simple sugars like what you find in candy and in cakes and in sodas. Right? So they should.
When I was a player, they used to give us like chocolate and little sweets. Even now, like I used to be with the team there for months,
Yes.
and the players that come down from me, which are adults now, they used to come down and they say, George, when we go to game, can you bring Jolly Rancher candy, Snickers bar, and those kind of things to get an energy rush? But no, so
That's
are you
okay.
saying that and they say carbohydrates the enemy then?
It is the enemy, but you're talking about using it as a treat. Using it occasionally to get a little bit of boost of energy. That's fine. I'm talking about the kids who wake up in the morning and the parents don't want to cook breakfast. So what do? Cereal, sugary cereals. You see? Not good. They need some protein to mix in with it. So then they go to lunch and they have more. They might have a sandwich, but then they eat some candy for dessert, like you say, as a treat. Not very good. Again, you got to mix it up. 50% of sugar, but candy's the wrong sugar. Sodas are the wrong sugar. What are the right sugars? Sweet potatoes.
How about bananas?
Bananas, fruits, berries, right? Vegetables. We call those complex sugars, complex carbohydrates they're called.
Yeah.
Now, why is that important? Because that slows everything down in their stomach and their intestines for digestion. So here's the problem with eating the simple sugars and not the sweet potatoes and the vegetables and the fruits. And I don't mean fruit juice, by the way. Hello. Fruit juice is as bad as candy. Fruit with the pulp and everything in it, because it has fiber, and this fiber slows everything down in your stomach. So now your stomach empties slower and you don't get hungry so fast. How many kids do you know where they eat and now in a couple hours they're ready to eat again? And they want to eat again, they're hungry. And the parents don't want to deny them, so they said, oh yeah, here, take this and take that, and that adds up. So the point is that we want to limit those kinds of sugars because they make your stomach empty fast. We want to give them the carbohydrates with fiber that causes your stomach to empty slower so you stay full longer.
Okay. Having said that, many parents think that running to the supplements is a very good idea. We get this all along every time.
Yes.
So how effective is that?
It's not necessary for the average kid to use any supplements. You should get all your vitamins and all your fibers from whole foods. You know, even bread. White bread has, it gets metabolized very quickly, but the whole grain breads has the fiber in it that I'm talking about. You see?
That's the wheat bread.
Yes, the wheat bread, whole grain breads, right? So you have to read your nutrition labels and see how much fiber there is. You want to make sure that you don't have a minimum, you have a large amount of fiber. But what you're talking about with the complex carbohydrates are the way to go to limit. If you're going to put 50% of a kid's diet as sugar or carbohydrates, right? It shouldn't be candy, and it shouldn't be sugary cereals, and it shouldn't be sodas, right? But do they need the sugar? Absolutely. Now, what do they need the sugar for, do you think? Tell me, what do you think they need the sugar for?
Energy?
For energy. Mainly the energy of the brain. Their brains are developing. The rest of your body can use fats to produce the energy. You know what I call energy in the cells? The battery juice of the cells is energy. In biology, we called it ATP. Remember we called ATP? That's it. That's the energy of the cell. To make energy in the cell, to make sure the muscles and the brain and the liver and the kidney all have enough energy for the child to thrive and to grow, they need a combination of fats and carbohydrate. The protein is for building muscle mostly, but we use for energy the fats and the carbohydrate.
Okay, doctor.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if they don't get enough carbohydrate, let's say a parent says, I heard carbohydrates were bad, so I'm not letting my kid eat any sugar. That would be very bad because they need some carbohydrate for the brain development as well as for energizing the rest of the body.
Okay.
The body can't just work on fats.
I read someplace as far as the wheat is concerned. I've made to understand the difference. The grains are good, but the wheat itself, the particular wheat is loaded with white sugar bring it, to hold it together, to blend it like that. And as it pertains to eating for your blood type, I was made to understand also that wheat actually puts weight on certain people based on their blood type.
So it depends on how it's made. So whole grains in whole wheat, so some wheat bread that they call wheat has a minimum amount of whole wheat and has a lot of the refined wheat where the nutrients have been taken out. It's the same as eating white bread. So that's the cheap stuff. That's really basically what we're talking about. It costs more money to make the whole wheat, to keep it all together, and that usually is in the stores is a little more expensive to have. And how do you know? The nutrition labels will tell you by the fiber. The wheat you're talking about is going to have less fiber, even though it's going to be called wheat bread. Not all wheat bread is the same. You're going to look at the fiber content. The more fiber content, the more whole grain wheat. Now, it's interesting you bring up a thing about the issue about wheat. Wheat has a protein in it called gluten. You heard of gluten-free diets? Well, a lot of people now we're finding are allergic to gluten. Now, how does that happen? We've been living for millions, tens of millions, humans, let's see, hundreds of thousands. Humans, we haven't been human for millions of years. We've only human for 100,000, 250,000 years. So for 250,000 years, the human species has been, eating grains, right? And now we make our own food. Before we used to go to the forest and get it, and now we eat our own food, and it's wheat, right? So now wheat. The more you get exposed to the same thing, some people will develop allergies to it. And it'll make their intestines leaky. Leaky means that proteins that are supposed to be digested and broken down in your intestines leak out into the blood before they're digested. See, digestion means breaking them down to amino acids, the building blocks. But if the whole protein gets into the blood, it can stimulate a food allergy in people. So that's what we're talking about of gluten allergies. We can see it, that the intestinal lining is abnormal. If we would, let's say, put a scope down in somebody's intestines and stomach and look at it, or do what we call a biopsy and take a specimen, we know that this is occurring in response to wheat in some people.
Okay.
Those people have gluten allergies. They tend to get sick when they eat too much wheat. So they know that. They get diarrhea, for example. They go to the doctor, and the doctor says, oh, you may have a gluten allergy.
All right, Doc. So just to continue, Doc, we have just gotten a whole lot of information there just on protein and carbs. But just to...
I hope your head isn't swimming.
It is. But we're still moving forward now. In terms of like hydration, as a coach, I just want to know if it is safer to give kids like more water over the Gatorade and the Lucozade and stuff like that in terms of hydration. Just give us a little, a brief rundown on the best stuff that we could use. If we should give them more water than the Gatorade or more of the Gatorade than the water, given to the age limit, in terms of children to adult kind of ratio.
Well, it's not so important the age. What's more important is the extent of the exercise and how much they're sweating and how much water they're losing and how easy it is to get dehydrated. So let's say the kid is involved in a youth sport and they're training, they're practicing, they even have a game, and it's only for a couple of hours. Water's fine. Water's fine. That'll hydrate them very, very well. It's hard to lose enough water and salt. So sweat has both water and salt in it. The main salt in our body is called sodium. So you deplete the body of sodium with water, it's worse. That's when the kid could get dizzy and, maybe his blood pressure will go down a little bit and he'll feel lethargic and he'll get confused. No, we want to avoid that. So water is enough because you don't lose enough salt by sweating for 1 or 2 hours, usually.
Okay, so
but what about if you now are training all day, but 3 or 4 hours, now you have to think about things like Gatorade.
Isotonic drinks.
Yes, isotonic drinks. Actually better is what we call hypotonic drinks.
But quickly, Doc, should we train for that length of time? No. Like, what you think is reasonable time training-wise?
Yeah, no.
3-4 hours, I think that's suicidal, isn't it?
Exactly. but yet, kids go out to the playing field and they'll play for 3 or 4 hours.
They sit on their own time still, isn't it? During that time, they can take a sit, take a cool, so they probably don't be active for that 3-4 hours.
Okay, well, if that's true, then they only need water.
They only need water.
Yeah.
Another ticklish point is the process of lifting weight. How because we were taught from our vantage point when we used to play, is lifting weight is dangerous at certain age groups. At certain age group. Everything is revolving now and evolving.
Yes.
So a lot of things that we used to do in our time is not worthy of doing at this point in time. So tell us, where does the science lead us as far as that is concerned?
And as just to add on that, and like, you know, what is a good age to actually start
lifting.
that kind of lifting process with children?
Yeah, well, it depends. Each child is a little bit different, but you don't want to do too much weightlifting before the age of about 10, right? After the age of about 10, 11, 12, they can start lifting weights. Light weights, right? Light weights, just enough weight that they can do 10 repetitions of an exercise and not more without straining, okay? And the most important thing is to know that weight training does not stunt their growth, does not decrease their growth of their muscles, right? Unless you overload them.
Okay.
And if you overload them with too heavy weights or do it too often, so shouldn't be training the same muscle groups every day, as you well know, right? You switch it up. But there's nothing wrong with weight training for children who are engaged in sports, but you don't want to certainly do it before the age of 10, 11, 12, when they're starting to go into puberty. Now, why is that important? Because puberty, and this is true for girls and boys, right? In puberty, they start making more of the sex hormones called testosterone. Both boys and girls make it. Boys make more, girls make less, but that's what builds the muscle. So before that age, before they go into puberty, they don't have enough of that hormone to build the muscle. And now it's easy to overload the muscle and damage the muscle fibers. But as long as the muscle can respond and they have the right hormonal balance, the right hormonal mix, the right environment that have enough testosterone, or we'd call it androgen, which is the masculinizing hormone. But even though it's the masculinizing hormone, the girls have it. The girls just don't have as much as the boys, which is why girls don't build as much muscle as boys do.
Okay, just before Coach Nabu get into his question, I just want to know, like, so if we have a big 9-year-old, a big 9-year-old, because they say like 10, 11, 12 is the best age group to start that, and then you went on to the hormonal part of it, which is like 13, but some people probably started seeing hormones earlier. So is it okay based on size?
No, you can't just go by size, because some kids are going to have weak muscles, but they're going to have more body fat. Now, why do they have more body fat? That's a good question. Why do kids have more body fat, some more than others? Well, it's very complex. Some of it is genetic, that they inherit from their parents, but a large amount of it has to do with how they were fed as infants and children. When you overfeed kids, especially with carbohydrate, it gets taken up and turned into fat. You mentioned if you sleep, you get growth hormone and that helps build muscles. Well, growth hormone doesn't work by itself. It works together with insulin. So having some carbohydrate in your diet stimulates insulin. Not a lot, but having 50% of your diet complex carbohydrates, not the simple sugars, but the simple sugars do stimulate insulin. The problem is they stimulate too much insulin. The complex carbohydrates keep the insulin secretion, the insulin release down to a minimum. Now that works with growth hormone to build the muscles. And so when we have, the issue of complex carbohydrates mixed with taking protein in your diet, together those are help build the muscle. Now, the kids get fat because of too much insulin. Insulin is the only hormone in our body that forces us to make fat. Why do you think people who overeat get fat? Because their insulin is up. as long as you're eating, and you're eating sugar. By the way, if you eat fat and you eat protein and you don't eat any sugar, you won't get an insulin response. But then insulin won't be able to work together with growth hormone to build the muscle. So it's not a good idea to limit sugars too much,
As we
unless you want to lose weight.
Okay.
Right?
Let's look at one training. What is overtraining, and what are the dangers of overtraining?
The dangers of overtraining are what we call burnout. You heard of burnout? Just like somebody works too much. You can work too much and you get burned out. Kids get overtrained and they burned out, right? So when they burn out, they get a metabolic response. The metabolism of their bodies will change. So when you burn somebody out, it usually means they get fatigued early, they lose interest, right? They lose interest, they get pain. So for example, let's say a kid is a runner and he now develops shin splints. You know what shin splints are, right? And now it suggests that he's overtraining.
Okay.
You see, pain, anything negative, where the kid is losing interest. And that goes for all of us. We should always make sure that our sports and our physical activity is satisfying to us, that it's fun, that we're not in pain, that we're enjoying it. If they're not, that's a sign of what we call burnout.
Okay.
So you can overtrain, and there's a hormone called thyroxine, thyroid hormone. You heard of thyroid hormone? It maintains our metabolic rate. Well, when you overtrain, your thyroid hormone decreases. Your thyroid hormone is supposed to increase when you train to burn up the calories. But when the overtraining takes over, the burnout causes, instead of thyroid hormone to go up and help with building body structures to stimulate your metabolism, it actually goes down.
Well, Doc, we definitely loving the information you're giving us here. I would like to thank Dr. Rick for coming on the show with us here this evening.
Definitely.
And we got no wealth of information, Doc. For me, it's iron brain opening. And some of the things you talk about here, because I used to just want to drink pure Gatorade and don't drink no water, but now I have a little more idea of how to balance that out. So thanks for being on the show, Doc. We really appreciate it. I'm George Saw Dublin, along with my co-host
Vincent and Abu Samuel.
and we're closing off here in season 4, episode 1, and we're looking forward to seeing you on episode 2 of the GN Sports Show. Have a good evening.
Interviews, insights, dreams taking flight. We show them how to handle the spotlight, preparing them for the journey ahead, building confidence, the words left unsaid. From the grassroots to the national scene, young athletes chasing every dream. In every game there's a story to tell. GN Sports Show, we know them well. GN Sports, where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow making waves today. From ages 5 and up we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show, interviews where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow making waves today. From ages 5 and up we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports, where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow making waves today. From ages 5 and up we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show.